I was a young kid playing hockey here, and like all kids growing up, they always loved to spend time with their dad going to the office or going to their work. Well, just so happened my dad's office was, a hockey rink, and as a young hockey player, I thought it was just, I was in heaven. And so I probably snuck my way into things and saw things I probably shouldn't have seen or done. I was in the locker room as a little kid, 12 years old, when he actually posted the roster for the teams. But I actually remember the first National Sports Festival because he had a couple of guys in mind for who he wanted to be the captain and who he wanted to be the stars. And those individuals did not play on the team because they turned pro the following year. That first game against the Swedes, it was actually before the opening ceremony. And so it was like 11 o'clock in the morning on I believe, it was a weekday, and I was sitting across the rink from where the players' benches were, and there was no one in there. There was probably 1,000 people in the rink. I could hear the coach of the Swedish team speaking in Swedish to his players. That's how dead it was. They tied the Swedes with a minute left. No one was there. And then they played the Czechs, who were supposed to be, a very good team, and they were. Had a lot of players that went on to play in the NHL, and they killed them. Each day that passed in Lake Placid, you could feel something building. Something was happening. I remember exactly where I was sitting. They didn't really have space for me. The general manager of the team was a guy named Ralph Jasinski, and his son was Jimmy Jasinski, and he was a few years younger than me. And so they opened up a space. There was like a platform above the top row in the corner, basically right over Tradiak's catch glove. Mark Johnson scores to tie it with 1 second left. The second ticked off. I remember looking at the referee, and he and my dad on the bench were kind of non-verbally communicating because he's a Finnish ref. And you could tell, we're like, oh my God, it's gotta count. And you could tell by the ref, you knew it was gonna be a goal from what he was saying to my dad, kind of sign language. And then Eruzione, right after that, after Eruzione scores, he kind of puts his hands on his hips and looks up at the clock. And you could just tell the look on his face. What's going through his mind is, oh my God, this actually might happen. Jimmy Jasinski was literally, for that 10 minutes, he was crossing himself the entire time. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy how intense that was. I remember the countdown. Now, I wasn't watching it on TV, so I couldn't hear the Al Michaels thing. But my dad was so stoic. When the countdown took place, the play was in the other end, I go, I want to see what he does. And so I'm looking at him, and I remember he jumped up in the air. And I don't know if he was on the bench or not. He jumped in the air and boom, went down, and then just hightailed it off the bench and into the bowels of the building. I don't remember watching the puck in the last seconds. I remember watching him go, oh my God, what is he going to do? And he just went crazy just for that one split-second moment.